Greetings and welcome to Just Talk. Oh yes, that's right. Look, we are on the air. That's our tenuous connection this week. We are on the air in Just Talk for the second week in a row. And of course, we're not playing Just Cause. As you can see, we are in fact playing Fallout 4, which has just come out. And there's a good reason for that. There's a good reason for us playing Fallout 4, apart from the fact that it is super exciting and very lovely looking and has just come out, and, you know, and everyone is generally going balmy for Fallout 4, which is totally justifiable, I'm sure. It seems so far from the brief time... Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry. It seems so far from the brief time that I've spent with it to be fantastic, to be a worthy successor to Fallout 3, which, of course, was a fantastic game, in my opinion. I love Bethesda games. I love the free-roaming, kind of open sandbox, story-driven games that they create. And I'm sure I'm going to love Fallout 4 as well. But the question is, am I going to cover it on the channel? This is why we're here. I actually recorded about an hour of this game this morning, following the story through in Let's Play format. And I loaded it into the editing suite, and the idea was I was going to upload that today instead of Just Talk. I was just going to do a Let's Play episode, maybe label it as a pilot and see if people wanted to watch it or not. But in the end, I decided not to publish that at all. And instead, I'm going to do this Just Talk episode. We're going to talk a little bit about Fallout 4. We're going to talk about a few other things going on in the channel like we always do in Just Talks. I wanted to because it was a week since the last Just Talk, I wanted to do another Just Talk anyway. And the thing about covering Fallout 4 is I'm not going to be able to compete with the big established channels in terms of getting search result hits for Fallout 4 content. So really the only reason to cover Fallout 4 is if my existing audience base wants to watch it. And if my existing audience base wants to watch me playing Fallout 4, hopefully you'll be prepared to hang around for a couple of days whilst I get quality content together rather than just, you know, rushing to get the first playthrough that I can possibly get recorded, edited and up on my channel. So basically the question... Uh-oh, Rad Scorpion, I think this could be well beyond me. Look how little damage I did with my tiny little pew pew pistol. Yeah, I basically just wandered straight off into the wilderness at the end of the save. I pretty much just got out... Ow, that hurt. I pretty much just got out of the vault, so like I'm like level 1 or level 2 or something, and I have almost no gear, so we're not going to be able to take on basically anything we find, I suspect. We're just going to have to run away. But that's fine, because I'm just here to talk. Get it? I'm just here to talk. Good. So what was I saying? Yeah. Am I going to cover Fallout 4 on the channel? So before you make up your mind on this, have a little think about it. Obviously, this is a much more story-driven game, and there's two ways I could cover Fallout 4 if I were to cover it on the channel. The first way would be as a full-on Let's Play series where we run through the main story as the main character who has a pretty established background. Almost too much, actually, I have to say. This is the first time I played a Bethesda game where it's really... I mean, I say that. I suppose Fallout 3 had a fairly well-established character as well, and a fairly well-established background. But I like in Elder Scrolls the fact that it's all very vague and you can basically be whoever you want to be. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So we either do a very story-driven Let's Play series where we play through the main story as the main character, and that, of course, will be full of spoilers. And if you want to play this game yourself and you don't want those spoilers, obviously you won't want to watch that type of content, that type of Let's Play series. The other alternative is that I do a Let's Play series where I basically start out here in the wilderness like this, pretend that none of the main quest stuff is going on, ignore all the main quest lines, just go off and try and survive in the wilderness, engage in side quests and that sort of stuff, which I assume is available. I assume all that can be done. I mean, it can be done normally in these kind of Bethesda games, so let's hope that is possible. And that might be another way of doing Fallout 4 style content that doesn't actually, you know, involve spoiling the game for people who want to play through it on their own, or at least not most of the game. There'll still be bits that obviously it might be nice to stumble across yourself. Certainly, when I started thinking about doing content for this game, I did a little YouTube search just to see how many thousands of videos there already were. Surprisingly, most of them were pre-launch videos, but I suspect that'll change over the course of today. But I started. I saw a few YouTubers who I watch regularly, you know, and I started watching it, and then I stopped because I was like, well, actually, I don't want to see someone else play through this story. I want to play through it myself, and I want to play through it myself for the first time without knowing what's going to happen. So I think that's quite important. I think it's something that's worth thinking about, and it's not something that applies to most of the content that I do on my channel, because I quite deliberately a lot of the games, or most of the games that I pick, are sandbox type games, like survival games, building games, or even things that are a bit more story driven, like Renowned Explorers or Sunless Seas. They're story driven, but they're story driven in a semi-random and replayable fashion. So you'll get different stories each time you play, and they're meant to be replayable. So you don't have the same kind of issues of spoilerness that you would have in a very story-driven game like Fallout 4. So there you go. That's the question. Guys, do you want to see me play Fallout 4 on the channel? And if so, do you have a preference between story-driven content or just sort of wandering around the wasteland, making up my own adventures as I go? Or do you want to not see Fallout 4 at all on the channel and just focus on the admittedly already a large number of games that I would like to cover on the channel that, have not yet seen as much coverage as they should? For example, obviously, City Skylines coming back, more Medieval Engineers, and Renowned Explorers, Sunless Sea, everything else, like all the many games. And to a certain extent, this also applies to the games in the future. If I play Fallout 4 on the channel, I'll probably take the £40 that it cost from the channel fund, which means I've then not got £40 to spend on other indie games, like just any indie games that crop up that might potentially be better for the development of the channel. So I don't know, it's something that's worth thinking about. If you'd asked me like 2 or 3 months ago if I was going to play Fallout 4 on the channel, it would have been no-brainer straight away. Absolutely, yes. I love Fallout 3. I love Bethesda games. Of course I'm going to play it on the channel. It'll be great. But as the time got closer and closer, and I started thinking more and more about it, I was like, it's not such a straightforward question as it sounds, And if people do want to see Fallout 4 content, of course, there is just going to be tons and tons and tons of it available on other channels. So there we go. It's in your hands. You, my viewing public, feel free to voice any opinions, pro or con. And after a few days, we'll take a look at that. We'll see what everyone generally thinks. And if people really want to see Fallout 4 content, then there will be Fallout 4 content on the channel. If people aren't particularly bothered, then there may not be. Then again, I may just decide I'm playing it anyway, and I'm going to record it, and it's going to go up regardless, and people can choose not to watch it if they so wish. Fantastic. I don't think I can beat these dogs either. I think I've just ran out of ammo with that shotgun. Can I reload? Your health is low. Quick. See, obviously, it would be good to perhaps get a little bit better at Fallout as well before I actually start uploading content. The last thing I want is shonky content. And if I do content as well, it's going to be edited. I'm going to spend my time on it. I don't want to just be rushing to get content out. That's not the way I like to make content. So there we go. Oh, and down he goes. So what else has been going on the channel outside of the whole Fallout 4 question? Well, it's been a pretty good week. It's been a pretty straightforward week. We've had Kingdoms content. We've had a return of Sunless Seas, which I hope people are enjoying. Certainly, I've had some really great positive feedback about people who've watched the Sunless Sea content. I absolutely adore making it, by the way. I just love putting on the narrator voice, and the setting and the whole story and the way that game is put together is really great and really evocative. Of course, still really enjoying doing the Kingdoms content as well. That is accelerating towards its conclusion. I suspect we won't do another playthrough of Kingdoms once that's completed. The videos are starting to lose popularity a little bit as it is, and there isn't a lot more to see and do. Whether we succeed or fail, we'll probably take a break. If we succeed, fantastic. We will hold off then, and maybe if the big update or something comes out for Kingdoms in the future, we'll come back and we'll do a fresh playthrough and take a look at that content. If we lose, I'll probably feel compelled to come back and try again at some point, but it won't be straight away. I'll probably take a little break from doing that, and we'll look at doing some other content. In the meantime, there was a live stream. I've done a couple of live streams. I did a KSP live stream, Kerbal Space Program, highlights. I did the first sort of highlights reel of that. I may or may not bother with the second half of that live stream for a highlights reel. If people really want to see it, then we can totally take a look at it. But not a lot of any particularly great interest happened, to be fair. I've also done a live stream in Subnautica, which has not made it up onto the channel as yet. That probably will make it up into the channel in some form, because I think I'd like to do Subnautica as an extended series on Twitch. I'll probably do Subnautica playthrough, Twitch live streams, as it were, continuing that one adventure, that one undersea survival adventure, and then sort of converting that maybe into some kind of highlights or some kind of series on YouTube to track it and just to kind of like, you know, keep interest going and things like that. I'm looking forward to that. I really love playing Subnautica as well. I've been meaning to play Subnautica for the channel for a long time now, and it's really good to have finally started that on the live stream, and I think the live stream is probably a good format to take it forward in. So that's something else that has happened, kind of slightly ancillary to the channel, but still kind of like more or less within it. Stranded Deep experimental build, that was kind of right at the beginning of this week, that last episode in that series until we see a major update to Stranded Deep. Stranded Deep, again, great game, really great part of the channel's history. It was like the first game that really started to kick off for the channel. In fact, it was only the second game I ever played on the channel. And I'm really looking forward to a substantial update there, but I don't think it's worth covering that game anymore until we get that substantial update, because, you know, it's very buggy, there's lots of glitches in it, and, you know, there's a lot of missing content and stuff, and it's a little bit disappointing, actually, that the developers haven't been a little bit quicker at getting that together and getting something out. So we're waiting on that, and that'll definitely be something that comes onto the channel hopefully fairly soon. Medieval Engineers will be coming back on the channel very soon, basically as soon as I can get the game to run stably for me. Since the last update, it's just been crashing continuously. Had it not been crashing continuously, there probably would have been videos for that already this week. I've got a plan for a continuation with a bit of a twist of the Wizard in a Wood survival series, so you can look forward to that, hopefully, if you like Medieval Engineers content. Coming onto the channel soon. As I teased a little bit as well, there's also probably going to be some Space Engineers coming onto the channel at some point in the near future. Depends to a certain extent on when or if planets are going to drop soon, and also how much time I have to develop all of this other stuff, because frankly I'm biting off probably way more than I can chew. But it'd be nice to have some Space Engineers on the channel if we can find time for it. Maybe just a few showcases if we don't actually have time to do a full series on the channel. What else has been going on? Well, that's pretty much it. Just Talks are back. It's great to have Just Talk back. It's an opportunity for me to just like stand here and blather away at you, and hopefully people don't get too bored and sort of wander off and lose interest and all the rest of it. We've got a new Patreon backer on the channel as well. Massive thank you to Maple Creature for becoming the 5th Patreon backer. You're an absolute star. It's fantastic. I mean, it makes such a difference to me. It really does. It's so beneficial to the channel, mostly because it gives me the freedom to be able to snap up little indie games when they pop up on Steam without feeling like I'm going to get into trouble with my girlfriend for spending all of my money on the channel, because you know, it means the channel is actually generating a revenue, and that revenue can be reinvested into hopefully bringing you exciting and interesting content, which will help to grow the channel and onward and upward, and all things will be wonderful and amazing in time. So once again, massive thank you to Maple Creature, and of course to all the Patreon backers who've been supporting the channel all this time. Off the channel, I have been making some initial progress on the development work that I started talking about last week. I've been doing some prototyping in Unity for a side-scrolling engine, which I'm going to put together. It's pretty straightforward. It shouldn't be too much work, to be honest with you. I've also been playing around a little bit with ways to do pixel art. I've not settled 100% on whether that's going to be the art style I'm going to go for, but if it is, I'll probably do some funky stuff with lighting to try and bring it out and make it pop, make it a little bit unique as well. I will be showcasing that very soon, because I really want to get the channel behind me on that, and I really want to get all of you guys involved, because I'm pretty excited about it. My mind has just been thinking about it constantly, and I as always, I'm going to have to be careful not to get, you know, too over the top and allow feature creep to make the project unwheelie or unfeasible, or just combine those two words together in some kind of cool fashion. But I think the whole kind of sticking with the 2D side scroller type of setup is the right decision there. I think that's going to help to keep things simple. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with you. That's pretty much all I've got time for today. It's Tuesday, which is my nerd night day. I'm off to play games tonight with the lads, and which means I have a relatively little amount of time to record anything. I couldn't record anything over the weekend because it was my girlfriend's birthday, so we're not going to take a look at the analytics or anything this week. I think if we do a Just Talk every week going forward, we'll probably only take a major look at the analytics on a monthly basis, and we may look at specific things or specific details on a weekly sort of ad hoc basis, depending on what I decide to talk about on that week. So yeah, there you go. That's it. That's it for Just Talk today. Fallout 4, that was the big question. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about anything else that's going on the channel. Leave a comment below. Leave a like if you want to see more Just Talk episodes. But until then, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I have been Weird Wizard, and I will see you later.